don't go there, it's super dangerous.
And I run away from that.
We can drink.
Yay!
Right. 外人のトリセツ。はいどうも、ヤッピーです。外人のトリセツ始めます。さあ今回は記念すべき第1回目の動画です。ゲストの外国人を呼んでトーク動画を撮りました。そして本音に触れたいというので、あえて台本を用意せずにたった一つの質問をぶつけてみました。そしてその結果、なぜ日本人が外国人と上手にコミュニケーションが取れないか、はっきりと分かりました。それではご覧ください。どうぞ。Hey, what's up? This is Yappy and welcome back to my channel, 外人のトリセツ。Today I have a special guest.
I'm Ryan.
Hi, I'm Norma.
Hey, I'm Alex.
Today what we're going to talk about is most of the Japanese people say these kind of things to us. I'm Japanese, but I'm from Osaka, so I can understand what they feel. For example, a good friend of mine always complains to me about, hey, what are those Japanese people always keep on asking me, where you from? Where you from? Where you from? At the very beginning part of the conversation, even before he knows my name. They ask me for no bad meaning, but it sounds a bit different from what he feels to us. Yeah, if you have some ideas, we can be a little more honest than usual with this. Yeah, I want to share some ideas and I want you to give me some of your experiences.
What I started doing now that I've been here a long time, so when people comes to me, and especially Japanese people, and they ask me where am I from, I always ask them back, which part of Japan are you from? Because you know, most of the people living in Tokyo, sometimes they are not from Tokyo. They are from other parts of Japan, and they are always shocked that I ask them that. And it's it's really interesting because also like another thing is that if I say I'm from Mexico, they always say like, oh, tacos. And if I know if they are from somewhere in Japan, I know a specialty dish or something, I always tell them that, and that makes them more shocked, and I make them feel the same way.
She knows everything.
Yeah. So that, in a way, that also helped me to make them feel I'm not a stranger, and I'm more like used to Japanese culture and life, so that changes the way they communicate to me.
Right.
Yeah, in my case it's very similar to what Norma just mentioned, and I think as an advice from me would be that sometimes when we meet people from different countries, we try to make conversation based on whatever we know already from that country. But the problem is that most of the times these things that we know are cliches or are like stereotypes, you know. So for example, it happens a lot to me that when they say where are you from and I say Mexico, they say, oh, tequila. So you drink a lot of tequila, which I don't mind because I like tequila. But what about if I was a person that I don't drink? Maybe because I had a very bad situation in my past, so I decided not to drink. So every time I say I'm from Mexico, they relate me with alcohol. That would have been like, I would have taken it not in a good way. And it reminds me to, for example, in Mexico, every time someone said, I'm from China, the first thing they say, oh, so you know Kung Fu, right? So, and it's like, why? My Chinese friends, they say like, why they always think I know Kung Fu just because I'm Chinese? So maybe the advice is, instead of just reacting and saying the first thing you know about the country, maybe just start asking about the country, because maybe these people have different things to share from their hometown, for example. Yeah.
Because also you had like people telling you like, oh, narcos, right?
Yeah.
And
So
yeah. And Yeah, I mean, not all of Mexico is about that. So sometimes it's like, maybe, I don't know, first ask, what do you like about your country, or what's your favorite thing, your favorite place, or something like that, instead of just assuming things.
We all already get used to share this kind of things, like with meeting a lot of people from different countries. That's why we're okay with it.
Yeah.
But for the people who are not like us, should have get it started with knowing that you're stuck in that stereotype. They don't even understand their situation. They got totally stuck in the central of stereotype and keep on asking me like takoyaki, okonomiyaki. Imagine you do that with sushi every day. Nah.
What is the case with you?
I think with me it's a little bit different, just because I know I'm from two places. I don't really strongly identify to just one place. But also, like, I don't know, it's a little bit weird. Some people don't think so, but some people think so, because I'm more Asian looking. Like, so if I have longer hair, maybe they think I'm Japanese sometimes, so it's a little bit different. But I mean, if they've been to the Philippines, they're always like, oh, Cebu. I've been to Cebu like once or twice, so kind of the same thing. Whatever they know of like the country. If they've been to like South Africa, obviously they talk about whatever they see, and they're like, oh, it's very dangerous. And
So which two places you are from?
oh yeah, the Philippines and South Africa. Right? So obviously more people go to the Philippines in Japan than South Africa, but I'm kind of curious, like between like Japanese people, they don't ask the same thing, right? They don't ask the same questions. So why do they ask us these questions? They kind of make like a separation between us with the questions they ask. Maybe not on purpose, but that's kind of, it's like the easiest questions to get out the way. Like if you don't know if you cannot think of anything, you say like, oh, where are you from? And what are you doing in Japan? And how long have you been in Japan? It's all the same questions. Like maybe they don't really know what to ask because we don't have the same culture.
Yeah.
Like if you ask Japanese people, obviously they don't need to ask that. They ask, I don't know what they ask. What do they usually ask other Japanese people when they meet for the first time? That's what I want to know.
It's always easy to start up with what we're doing right now. You shouldn't go personal from the very first part.
Yeah, like the second question.
And then keep on searching the common points, common interests. You like this kind of place, or what kind of music do you like?
Yeah. I have friends that are from African roots, and for example, sometimes they have like a curly hair, and sometimes people come to me, can I touch your skin? Can I touch your hair? Because it's so different.
It happens all the time. It happens all the
That's
time
so
to
weird,
me.
right?
Friends or even people that I don't know, they come and, can I touch your head? And then I say, yeah, of course. And then suddenly I have another person and everyone is touching my, like if I was a pet, you know, like everyone wants to pet. So yeah, that one, and also my my purse, you know, that people say
put their
like
finger
they
in
want
it?
to put
Oh.
something inside. But the head is the most common thing. So I'm already used.
You're like a Buddha. You rub the
Yeah,
stomach.
sometimes
Good luck.
sometimes I'm just like, okay, so go ahead. I feel okay.
Just ask for money next time.
Yeah.
For the good luck.
In this video, I also want to talk about not only with complaining things, but also what people should do instead of doing that.
When I was working as a hostel manager a few years ago. In the beginning, I was always surprised when I saw like a nationality I never saw before.
Like where?
I had people from Ukraine. I had some people from Syria. Nationalities you don't see often, right? And I could learn from them about their country or about themselves. It made me realize that it doesn't matter where you're from, you're still a person and you're still a human. Sometimes it's more like asking things about how do you feel in Japan? What do you like? What's your favorite food? I think that will be nicer, and that's how they also can know that especially in the case of us that we've been here for a long time, you know, like, talking with a tourist is different. But we hear these questions every time we go somewhere.
You're bored with it.
Yeah, like I understand because it's like when I'm meeting a person for the first time, but after a while I think like, well, then like maybe this person is not interesting enough because it's asking, like when I get questions that are different from the usual, I feel like, oh, I can talk more with this person. This person seems to be interested in knowing me and not just having a casual beer conversation, you know? Yeah, sometimes it's like when the conversation reached the point that you said where you're from and
How long
you've been here.
Like this.
And then, and then it's like, okay, we're talking about weather now. No meaningful conversation. So, but if the person starts asking you more interesting things, I can start a conversation from that. Or like, which is your favorite tacos restaurant in Tokyo? And then I can explain like, oh, tacos in Japan are not that good, but this is my favorite restaurant. But then we can keep on talking from there, but not just asking like a very direct and short answer question. If you open your like question a little bit more, you give the other person a chance to talk more.
Because you're not Japanese, they always think you're a tourist. I think nowadays they understand a little bit more that we are not tourists because of the lockdown. But still, you can find people that they think you just came here. And for example, very simple example. Once in Golden Guy, in this place full of bars, someone asked me like if I knew about one place. I don't remember which one. And then I say, yeah, it's around the corner, but be careful because they have otoshi, right? Like this little amount of money that you
Table
give
charge.
to stay, table charge.
Something
They
you
say,
never
like,
ordered. Yeah.
how do you know about otoshi if you are not Japanese? And I said, well, okay, I'm not a Japanese, but I have been living in Japan that long that I already know about this kind of things.
And I run away from that.
So whenever they see that you know things that only Japanese people should know, they feel like, wow, why they know, right? They, in the moment they see you're not Japanese, the first thought they get is they are tourists.
Yeah, it's also funny because like we're all food tour guides.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we know more than the average Japanese person about Japan.
Yeah.
Cultural stuff, and like I get that a lot. Like if I tell them about something, it's like, how do you know this? I don't even know this.
I get that from my Japanese friends all the time.
It's my job before. So if you ask about my job, you know.
I am Japanese, and even I didn't know that. Why you know that? Well, the thing is that we have to study, but it would have been great if you also study a little bit.
Do you guys think many of Japanese people don't even know the backgrounds or how cultures or customs being grown up as it is right now
In Japan?
in Japan? You know, it's always important thing to understand your backgrounds and roots and things you do and the reason for that.
Yeah.
But not so many Japanese people do.
When they ask us about like Mexican culture, about for example Day of the Dead, we can give an explanation that, oh, it started like this and this is like what we do and we create all this stuff and the meaning is because of this, and we are grown with all this since we are little. I felt that sometimes in Japan, like I think maybe in Tokyo, like people just they don't really care, like where this came from or why you have this or why, like I don't know, why you eat somen in summer and stuff like this. It's just like, oh, okay, we just do it, but there's not a deep knowledge about that. And I think like in our case we know it because, as Alex said, we have to study, right? But in our culture, in Mexican culture, I think our grandparents are always like telling us stuff, or even our parents. And in the school, we have these old things like we celebrate, and they tell us like our history and stuff, and we celebrate it every year for 12 years, right?
From the generation to generation.
And I think sometimes that's getting lost, or just young people don't really care.
maybe in
Some places.
most of the cases, yeah, same thing. Youngers don't care. When I was younger, not much, but as meeting more and more people, that reminds me that I don't know anything. And start searching to find out what it's originally like or how it glows.
I started learning a bit more about my own culture because I feel a bit ashamed that someone from another country knew more, and maybe.
It's like a motivation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's a little bit different because I've lived outside of my country for so long. I know. I think it's about interest as well. I'm not super interested in, like, I know a little bit about the history and stuff, but maybe like most Japanese people, they know like the basic stuff. But if you're not really interested, then you won't really know much about it. But for us, it was because our job, so we had to do it. And also interested in Japan. That's why we live here. So it's kind of, I don't think it's really a bad thing. It's not really their fault. You know, especially in Tokyo, people are busy all the time, just working all day and then drinking and then go to sleep and then work and then drink and then sleep. There's not much time. You just focus on daily life.
Yeah, and actually you're right, because I think this kind of topics, it's always very important to say that we are talking just generally, but it always depends on many. It depends on the person, it depends on the situation, it depends on what is their purpose to talk to you or something. So it could be different depending on many things.
Yeah, I just wanted to have the chance like this because most of the Japanese people don't even know what's really going on in our minds. However, they all looking for some chances to talk with you and be friends with you. But they fail in the very first step. Couldn't make two. That's why I wanted the youth to share some honest opinions.
Well, I mean, I got one. I'm not sure about you guys, but I don't have so many Japanese friends. I'm mostly from work or whatever. But people I meet, like in a bar or like just on an event or something, we never really become friends. It's just like you message a few times and then finished, right? And I don't know. I feel like most Japanese people have less friends. Well, I guess we live here as foreigners, but just their normal circle of friends is quite small, or maybe they're less interested. I don't know. But I never really get like invited to, like, oh, there's this event or we're gonna go camping or something. That's always like my foreign friends. They're always like, oh, let's go camping here. Maybe there's some Japanese people, but maybe if you live here for a long time. But I think most people's friends are like from work or something. Like all of our friends are from work that are Japanese.
99% of my Japanese friends are people that have lived abroad. They had that eye-opening situation where they understood that the world is really wide. But like we have another coworker that she kind of inserted herself in the Japanese group of people. So she's always hanging around with Japanese people, and now she's like one of them. But I think that's a very rare case for a foreigner. I think in general, the foreigners that live here, we have some Japanese friends around, but most of them are people that have been abroad, so they have another mentality, and for them it's easier to get closer to you than a person that has just been here. And sometimes it's hard because I think the way the brain works, like, you know, the language builds the way you think. And Japanese language, how is it built? It's so different from Spanish or English or any other, like, it's different from any other language. So you have to think in Japanese or like a Japanese person to be able to communicate. And also, like, you have to stop thinking like a Japanese person to be able to communicate with a foreigner. I've noticed like that situation when I was studying Japanese.
When we go to Kabukicho area or Golden Gai, I heard these comments like, oh, don't go there, it's super dangerous. And you have never been out of Japan, right? And they say, no, how do you know? You know, because the people that have been out of Japan when I tell them, some people told me the Golden Guy is dangerous. They say, "Oh, of course not. This is like a Disneyland, you know." I think that fact also affects the
Right.
conversation.
Can I add something? I think when you're talking to another person, you have to remember you're talking with a person, a human, like you, that has feelings and thoughts like you. So it's not the nationality, it's a person. So
Person and person are talking.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
not Japanese and Mexican, not Japanese and Spanish. It's just two people.
Humans.
And
Yeah.
Humans.
And it's very interesting that you learn that when you get out from your country. Like now that I am not in Mexico, I totally have that mindset. Like for me, it doesn't matter anymore, Japanese or Mexican or American, whatever. Every time I meet people, I'm thinking, maybe I'm gonna make a new friend. I don't even know yet where this person is from, but I am already having an interesting conversation, and then later I just discover where this person is from. But yes, this feeling and this mindset, it goes stronger when you are out of your country, or at least that's the way it happened to me.
Yeah, like the more experiences you have, the more you can understand like different cultures.
Mhm.
And I think you understand your own culture more as well when you leave,
Yeah.
and you experience other things. Then you can see like, oh, maybe this is not so good what we do in my country. And maybe I should be nice to people. And just be nice to people. I think that's the general rule, and you're good any country.
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Right. Okay, so I want you guys to do one more topic with me after this shooting about something different. We can eat.
Yay!
We can drink.
Yay!
Right. So I want you guys after the camera to come back for the next video. But before that, don't forget to hit the like button and please subscribe this channel. I'll see you very soon in the next video. So until then, bye bye.
バイバイ。
はい、最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございます。いかがだったでしょうか。今回台本なしで協力してくれた3人のこのゲストには感謝したいと思います。本当に素直な意見を出してくれてですね、今後も取り上げていきたい内容がたくさん収録することができました。ただ今回は第1回目ということで、この動画を通してですね、日本人として良かった点、悪かった点、それぞれ1点ずつ紹介して今回は終わりにしようと思います。はい、まず良かったところで言うと、日本人の方に外国人とコミュニケーションを取るって話をすると、必ず私英語苦手だからとか、英語力に不安を感じる人がいると思うんですが、今回ですね、この動画の3倍ぐらい収録時間があって、ずっとみんなで話しながらもう1時間ぶっ通しでみんなとにかく喋ってました。そしてその中で英語力に関すること一度も話題に出ませんでした。そしてもっと言うと、自分はもう20代の前半からいわゆる外人バーというところで仕事をしてたりとか、ツアーガイドの仕事をしています。そうやってたくさんの外国人を見てきて話をしてきた中で、日本人の英語力に関してネガティブな話は一度も聞いたことがないです。確かに、得意か不得意かと言われれば得意な方ではないと思いますが、それが理由で日本人と関わりたくないっていう人は今まで僕の記憶の中では一人も聞いたことないです。そこまで気にする問題じゃなかったという話ですね。これが今回この動画を通して見えてきた良かった点ですね。じゃあ逆に悪かった点は何かというと、最後ノルマも言ってたと思うんですが、外国人と話す時に思い出してほしい。外国人にも気持ちがある。あなたたちと同じようにものを考えてて気持ちがあるって言ってたんですよ。つまり逆を返せば、我々日本人は結構外国人の気持ちをないがしろにしてるところがあるんです。もっと極端な言い方をしてしまうと、人間扱いしてないかもしれない。ノルマも言ってましたね。人と人とが会話してるってことを思い出して、人間と人間が対話してるってことを思い出して、 って言ってます。ということは今はそれができてないっていうことですね。緊張しているのか、慣れてなくて動揺しているのか、個々の理由はわからないですけれども、日本人同士で当たり前にできていることが全くできてないってことです。例えば僕らだってそうだと思うんですけれども、この人は自分に対していい扱いをしてくれてない、ちゃんと扱ってくれてないと思ったら、もうそこからその人の言うことは耳に入らないと思います。いくら英語が上手でも英検1級取れた、でもこれができなければ友達なんて一人もできないし、仕事であれば話は聞いてくれると思います。英語が上手なんならね。でもあなたの英語はそんなことのために勉強したんですかって思いたいんですよね。英語を何百時間勉強するよりももっと簡単で、もっと大事にしなきゃいけないところだと思います。耳が痛い話かもしれないけれども、それを受け止めて変わっていくことであなたの世界は変わると思います。たとえコロナで日本から出れなくたって、日本国内にはたくさんの外国人の人がいます。そしてそのほとんどが今日の動画の内容のようなことを感じてるとすれば、一日も早くここに気づいて変わっていけば、今日からでも明日からでも世界は変わると思います。はい、本日は以上です。とても簡単で、でもほとんどの人ができてない外国人とコミュニケーションの取り方、今日は第一歩でした。この動画が面白いと思っていただけた方はいいねボタンよろしくお願いします。そしてこういった動画をどんどん発信していこうと思います。英語はもちろん大事だけれども、英語だけに頼らないコミュニケーション、そして結果的に外国人と話すことができて、あなたの世界が変わるような動画をもっと見たいと思う方はチャンネル登録も合わせて下のボタンからよろしくお願いします。それでは次の動画でお会いしましょう。ヤッピーでした。バイバイ。